Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel for part 2 of my May Plan With Me. This month is all about craft paper and lilies, and I am so here for it. This has been one of my favorite themes to do in a long time, and I really can't believe I haven't touched craft paper until now. My Pinterest boards are full of different images of gorgeous craft paper spreads, and apparently I must have just thought, oh wow, so beautiful. Now moving on. I mentioned in part 1 of the setup that I really can't do brush lettering at all. I can manage the brush strokes fine, but I really struggle with getting proportions of each letter right, so I literally had to draw out each header to fill it in with marker. It gives the same effect, so I think this is a really good method for people like me who can't quite master the art of brush lettering. This is going to be my first attempt at rolling weeklies, and I'm kind of excited for it. I was inspired by Abby at Bujo for treats and also took inspiration from her to do the tabs that you'll see on the right soon for each week. So on each page I'll have a section under each day for just journaling about how the day went. In the center columns I'll have an events section on the left page and a list of all my tasks throughout the week on the right side. I was also really feeling quotes this month, so on this page I added one in the events section that says, "Be the girl that decided to go for it." This is something I really want to embody this year as I work on building my business of handmade journals. It's terrifying, it's a huge undertaking, and I doubt myself a lot, but I'm not going to let any of that hold me back. No matter what, I'm going to be that girl to go for it anyway. I'll mess up often, I'll probably fail a lot and learn tons, and I'm going to make it work. What's something that you're working on this year? Let me know in the comments. I'm here to encourage you too. Anyway, as I added the second column for the tasks, I realized how thin it was, and I'm hoping this doesn't pose too much of a problem for me. I realized this after I inked it in, of course, so on the next page I adjusted and made something a little more suitable. Over each day, I wrote the day of the week on the top, and I'm not really sure if I like how it turned out. I feel like I should have used a lighter color for the date so that the black days would pop out a little bit more, but oh well. I also added the lily drawing at the bottom, which in hindsight probably wasn't a good idea either because now I have even less room to write out all my tasks. So here's hoping I don't have too many things to do this week because this could end up looking like a cramped mess. So here I am adding the first tab for the week. You'll see for each week I had no idea how to cut apparently because I cut each of them differently. This one I struggled with particularly because I was afraid of cutting too close to the tab and ruining it. It worked out fine in the end obviously, I was just really paranoid. I colored it in with some dark brown and it was complete. I added on craft paper to the next page and rounded the corners off with a corner rounder? Whatever that's called. I made another mistake here and didn't really think about how much I bumped down each date because of the craft paper and barely left any space for myself at the bottom for actually writing. Clearly, planning out my planner isn't my strong suit. copied the same format for the events list on the previous page, but added another quote in this section that says, "Live more, worry less," which is a reminder I feel like I need all the time. I mentioned in my previous video that I struggle a lot with always mentally being in work mode, and it causes me a lot of anxiety. I'm working on that, and I'm trying to give myself as many little reminders and motivation as I can along the way. This little quote being one of them. So this next page is the new and improved task list with way more writing space. I made a larger drawing of the lilies in this one since I have way more space this week. I also added a little section for the days of the week so I can indicate what tasks were done on what day. It's kind of like a habit tracker and a weekly combined into one. And then trimmed the page and made my next tab slightly more smoothly this time. I colored it in with a lighter brown since I'm going for a gradient with the tabs. I'm not really sure why I made the tabs so small. I could have definitely made them a bit bigger. I must have been thinking that I need tabs for the whole month or something. On to the third weekly. The next two are back to the traditional weeklies since I wasn't sure at the time if I wanted to commit to an entire month of rolling weeklies. Like what if I hated them and I was stuck with them for the whole month? So I figured splitting it in half was a good way to ease myself into it. I love that mini calendars take up space really nicely, and obviously they're helpful for a glance at the month. They're a pain in the butt to have to write out every page though. So down in the corner, I have a third quote which says, "May your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears." I love this quote because it's a good reminder for me to act in a way that will get me to my dreams and not hold myself back from them out of fear. I'm really pushing for that kind of growth this year, guys. I went for this switchy switch between inverted and non-inverted with the white and black inks, and I liked how it turned out. I added my drop shadows and highlights to the monthly header, and voila! Art. So lilies are super fun and easy to draw. I think they were one of the first flowers I learned last year. I learned nearly all of my flowers on Pinterest and have an entire board dedicated to drawing tutorials. If you think that would be of any use to you, then do feel free to check out my Pinterest page. I've linked it in the description. Or if you'd like me to make a video showing a little more in-depth tutorial of these flowers, let me know and I'd be happy to make one. Third tab done, that one went the smooth so far. And the gradient's working out well. So for this last weekly, I decided to pull out some printed pictures I had laying around unused and use them for this spread. The color scheme matched well enough, and while they're not pictures of lilies, they are still flowers, so they go well enough. I layered it over more craft paper, which kind of gave it more of a scrapbook feel. I know lots of people love the scrapbook look in their journals, and I love looking at them, but I find it really hard to create that style. There's so much depth and layering involved, and I suck at all of that. And all I did was layer 2 things. Some people are adding like 6, 7, 8 items on one page. Like, how are you doing this? Anyway, more shadows, more highlights, more mini calendars, more lilies. I kind of like adding the abstractly colored shapes behind the floral drawings. They add some nice design elements and make me feel artsy. Let's tab on the other side, and by the time I got to this one, I finally seemed to know what I was doing. Look how smooth that went. I layered on another flower picture over the craft paper. Well, technically it was the same picture, I just cut into 2. Ooh, and I added on a little sliver of washi tape too, so I'm basically a pro scrapbooker now. Also, side note, this is the most amount of washi I've used in my journal, like, ever. Which is really saying something because I've only used it maybe twice in this whole setup. I have a ridiculous amount of washi tape that I never use, and I need to figure out some kind of theme to go through some of it. Anyway, I finished off the last tab, and look how nicely the gradient worked out. I was pretty pleased with myself. And that, my friends, marks the end of my weekly setups. Here's a complete overview of the whole month. I was pretty happy with how it turned out since there were so many new things that I tried out this month. I'm curious to see how useful some of these spreads will actually be for me. If you want to see how this all looks filled in at the end of the month, be sure to follow me on Instagram, where I always share my after the pen flip-throughs and other journal-related content. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and drop me a comment to let me know. And if you want to see more, please hit the subscribe, that would mean the world to me. I hope you have a fantastic day. See you again soon.